Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Saur Darkchylde, and welcome back to Let's Replay Ace Attorney Investigations. Last time, we questioned Agent Lang's assistant, who turned out to actually be Callisto Yu, the person who went missing in Case 4. Or was it 3? Case 4. And we thought that she was responsible for the murder, one of the two murders, but apparently we were wrong. All that we proved was the true identity of identities of the Yatagarasu, being not just one person, but 3. Upon proving that, we are now questioned with who really was the killer of the two murders, and how do we prove that? Well, we're pretty much in the last 3 stages of the of this case now. So buckle up, everyone. Things are about to start getting wild in here. March 15th, 12:07 a.m. Theatum Neutralis, lobby. So now we know who the Yatagarasu really is. And yet, there remains much of this case that needs to be resolved. Like how these weapons crossed the country lines, for example. The two countries have incredibly strict security measures and entry procedures. Short of a miracle, it's impossible for someone to have smuggled them in. Smuggling them in, huh? We will need to open a new line of investigation on just this suspect alone. But before we do, I would like to go through my evidence once more. Hey, there's a VCR here! Now we can see what's on that tape Detective Bad gave us! This piece of evidence from the KG-8 incident, hidden from sight for 10 long years. I just hope that this is related to our current case somehow. Detective Gumshoe, if you could please play the tape for us. Yes, sir. This man, it's Manny Cochin. And he's holding a knife in his hand. This looks like footage from the security camera at the entrance of the apartment building. An apartment building? How do you figure that? Unlike you, I actually read the summary file of the KG-8 incident. And the crime scene was the victim's own apartment. So this footage was shot at the entrance of the victim's own apartment building. At the trial, Mr. Faraday claimed that this piece of evidence existed. However, no one could find it. Yes, and somehow, someone was able to steal it and hide it through Mr. Ernest Demano. I can see how this would have been a definitive piece, and why someone would want to hide it. But this piece of evidence hints from a 10-year-old case. There's no way it's related to this case we're working on now, sir. Actually, I believe it has everything to do with the case we're working on now. The ringleader even went so far as to use Mr. Portsman to retrieve it. Which means that in this video lies a very incriminating bit of footage to the ringleader. Where? Wait! What was that? Huh? That bit you played just now. Show it again to me. This car. This is something we cannot overlook. Why's that, sir? Look here, Detective Gumshoe.
Take that!
This is the national flag of the Principality of Codofia. And because it has the national flag on it, we know this is to be an official government car. But the question we should be asking ourselves is, what was a government car doing here?
Miss Von Karma. And Mr. Edgeworth. So, you were here all this time. Ambassador Alba. Thank you so very much for continuing this investigation at this time of night. If only I was even a teeny bit more careful. This tragedy would never have happened. I am truly sorry.
This wasn't your fault, sir. This has nothing to do with how careful you were.
You idiot! Chris says you couldn't chase after a simple thief? Now then, and let's get down to the real reason why I came looking for you, the two of you. I would like you to put the investigation on hold for a while. Can you do that? Excuse me? I hear you've apprehended the thief. He that turned this embassy upside down. And we are in the middle of an event celebrating our country's colonization. We can't exactly have the police and detectives walking around here forever. You're scaring the visitors away, so I hope that you can understand how I feel.
But we must finish our investigation and resolve the remaining issues.
Why don't you leave the rest to the Alabastian and Babolese police? Ambassador, we are so close, just a little more and... Miss Von Karma, I'm afraid I've made up my mind. And without my permission, you can't proceed with your investigation anyway, right? That's true, however...
As he said at the very beginning, this area can be considered to be Alabastian soil. In which case, we are nothing but foreigners in their land. Is this really where our investigation ends? Shifu, we found Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Shifu, this way.
Yo!
Agent Lang, you're back on the scene rather quickly.
If I laid back and took a break, Hank, I'd lose the scent of my prey, Mr. Prosecutor. Agent Lang, why have you returned? Because I have to solve this case no matter what. Well, I'm sorry to inform you. And don't take this the wrong way. I don't suspect you personally. However, a member of Interpol was just found to be the thief, and so... Under these circumstances, I wish to put your investigation on hold. After all, well, I believe our own police can handle things from here. They are quite capable.
At this rate, our investigation really will come to a close.
Ambassador Alba, I get it now. I really do. Oh? I'm very glad you understand how I feel. No, not that. What I was talking about is... I know who the killer is behind tonight's murder!
You...
No? The... killer? Do you really mean that, Agent Lang? Wolves don't lie. Then who is it? Well, let me first say that I'm not talking about Mr. Kochen's murder. That was all Shina. Longji says the truth lies not at the exit, but rather shines outside the maze itself. The truth is unexpectedly simple. Let me ask you this. Who do you think was Damask 2's killer? I'll tell you who. It was you, Franziska von Karma! I was the killer? Hey, wait, but that's impossible. Yeah! Although, that whip is actually quite... Yo! Hold your tongue and that ludicrous remark you were about to make.
Agent Lang, are you seriously accusing her for murder?
Yeah, I am.
He doesn't appear to be joking.
Hey sis, I remember that just before Ambassador Alba went to give his speech, he called you into his office, right? Yes, he did. But what does that have to do with anything? I'm getting to that. Furthermore, in order to solve both cases, you moved around rather freely between Alibest and Bebal, did you not? And where is your evidence that I am the killer? I was just getting to that, trust me. I'll show them to you in due time. Ambassador Alba, in order for me to bring this case to a close, I'll need to inspect your office one more time. Will you grant me permission?
With things as they are, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I?
Good, then let's move out. Oh, and don't even think about running away, sis. My pack will be keeping a close eye on you, and you can bet your bottom dollar on that.
As if I would have any reason to flee. But just so we're clear, your logic had better be sound. Because I'll accept nothing in short of a perfect explanation. She seems rather upset, not that I blame her.
I expected you to accept no less. But we'll see how long you can keep that nose of yours stuck up in the air like that.
Hold it!
Agent Lang, as someone related to tonight's case, I request that you allow me to take part. And so that I can clean up my superior's mess.
I guess I should. The more the merrier, especially when it's the peanut gallery.
Oh, in that case, I want to join in too. I still haven't seen what it looks like in Alabast yet.
If you can let Kay in, and then you've got to let me in too, pal. I can't sit around and do nothing when Ms. Von Karma's in trouble.
Hey, Gummy, let's have a competition to see who can save her first, okay?
Okay, I'll take you up on that. Oh yeah, I'm fired up and ready to go.
As a detective, I don't believe this is something you're supposed to be excited for.
Sounds like this is going to be real interesting. Ambassador Alba, I'll be bringing these kids along for the ride.
Very well. But I'd like you to keep in mind that this will be your last chance.
I'll have this whole mess cleared up before you know it. Now let's go! Okay, now, let's first go over the facts one more time. Manny Kochin's body was found over in the Secretary's office in Babel. The murder weapon that took his life was one of Alabast's ornamental knives. And then, in the body of Damas II, Mr. Kashino was found here in the Alabastian ambassador's office. Through our investigations, we found that the murder weapon was this Primidux statue. And that this is actually Badal's statue. This case, no matter how I look at it, sis, if it wasn't you, then there's no one else who could have pulled this off.
Agent Lang, do you understand the full implications of what you are saying?
I do. Of course I do, sis. And I'm serious. You were on the trail of the smuggling ring, and you wanted any evidence you could find. And so, while people here were distracted, hit by the Yadagarasu's appearance, you snuck in here. That's when you two ran into each other. And you took that over. You and that other thief who took advantage of the confusion from the fire, even if that were true, how do you explain the movement of the weapons? Don't worry. I plan to show that you're the culprit behind that too. You had permission to investigate both embassies at will. With that, kind of free reign. Hey now! Look, sis, I thought I already told you. I'm not messing around here. This case isn't directly tied to the smuggling ring. But Shinnok certainly is tied to the smuggling ring.
He is right about saying that she is a member of the smuggling ring. However, the connection between this case and the ring could not be deeper than what any of us can imagine.
Let's get this ridiculous circus over with already.
Franziska, you need to calm down. Because you only know the facts of the Alabastian inside of the case, I don't believe you can see the case as a whole and therefore solve it.
What?
But don't worry, I am taking this seriously as well, and I intend to prove your innocence.
That's the only way to be, Mr. Prosecutor. But can you come up with anything else that can top my hypothesis? Of course, your explanation has to solve the mystery of the moving weapons as well.
Of course, and I will. Let us now delve into the truth behind the murder of Damas II.
You do understand, don't you, Miles Edgeworth? This isn't a confrontation against Agent Lang. If you can't figure out how the murder of Damas II is related to the smuggling ring, then it will mean the end of our investigation.
As long as I have no good counter-arguments as to his hypothesis, then the best I can do is walk this thin tightrope and see what I can do.
Come on, Mr. Prosecutor, let's get started.
Yes, let's.
Border crossing weapons. One of Elabeth's knives was used in Babel to murder Mr. Koshin. And the murder weapon in killing of Damas II is the Babel Premiduc statue. Somehow these two were able to penetrate the two countries. He's impenetrable security. The only one who traveled to the two countries just before and after the crimes was you.
So, as long as I can't explain how the weapons moved about, Franziska will remain a suspect?
You got it, Mr. Prosecutor. So why don't you stop giving me a hard time? Under these circumstances, who the heck can carry a weapon across the country lines? I've worked through every possibility, and there's only one that's plausible. Your boss.
Agent Lang, that I've learned from you, who just now, is that you've lost sight of yourself.
What are you talking about?
By focusing too instantly on that which is in front of us, we became blind to the truth. Don't tell me that Zhong Hongfa, Lang Zi, he never said anything to that effect.
You prosecutor! Who do you think you are speaking about Langzi's proverbs like that?
I don't need his proverbs, because my words are all you will need to see the truth. And I kind of want to get this case over and done with, so let's see if I can speed things up a bit.
One of the Elebes knives his was used in Babal to murder Mr. Kochin. And the murder weapon in the killing of Damas 2 is Babal's primitive statue. Somehow these two objects were able to penetrate two countries' impenetrable security.
Objection!
Agent Lang, these two items are not the only two to cross the border tonight.
Oh?
Damas 2 was killed with Babal's Primaduck statue, yes. But if that's the case, then tell me, where did Elebes' Primaduck statue go?
To Babal!
Precisely. And if the two statues really were switched, then this means that both statues were smuggled across the border at some point. Which means that a total of 3 items were smuggled across the embassies.
I guess so. But you know what? It doesn't matter the number of items, only that the cyst is the only one who could have done it. Because the only person who went back and forth between Elebes and Babal is her.
Is that really true? Was there no one else who traveled between the two countries? Actually, there was definitely another person, one who paid a visit to both sides of the wall.
Objection!
Is that really so, Agent Lang?
What a lousy time to try and bluff your way out of this. I checked out the guards. I checked out what the guards said, along with the security camera footage. You're not going to overturn my hypothesis that easily.
But suppose there was some other way, other than through the theater doors.
What other way?
The other entity that managed to cross the border unharmed. If I pointed out, it would open up a whole new possibility. As though I hesitate to bring this out, as long as this entity exists, it's possible. The impossible road becomes a possibility.
It looks like you've got some clever idea in mind.
I do, and I can show it to you through a single piece of evidence.
Fine then. Let's see this piece of evidence that will show me this other route.
This piece of evidence will show us another way to move between two countries.
Take that!
Agent Lang, I'm sure you are familiar with this unforgettable photo.
That supernatural photo, like I said before. Humans can't fly.
No, of course not. I understand that perfectly well.
And don't start claiming that Sheena somehow grew wings either.
I wouldn't dream of claiming that.
And I won't allow you to take back what you've said either. I'll say it again. It's not humanly possible to fly through the air without wings. So, you'd better have a good explanation for this, Mr. Prosecutor.
But how can I prove who it was that flew through the air in this photo? Wait. Not humanly possible. Eureka! Very well. You will have your explanation.
It sounds like you have a good idea simmering inside that head of yours. Let's hear it. The face hidden behind within this photo, whose blurry, trailed shadow is...
Take that!
Naturally, the shadow is the third smuggled object, the Primidux statue replica.
You can't be serious.
The Yatagarasu nor Callisto Yu, dressed as Agent Shina, was inside Babal. She dressed the replica statue up in clothes and launched it through the air.
Ha, prosecutor! You left out a very crucial bit in your explanation.
I know I did.
She launched it through the air? Ha! And how exactly did she do that?
He is literally baring his fangs at me. But he has a point. How exactly did it move through the air like that? As long as this remains unsolved, we won't be able to move any closer to the truth. Which reminds me, didn't he say this earlier?
Hey sis, yes, I remember that just before Ambassador Elba went to give a speech, he called you into his office, right?
So just before the murder, Francisco was called here, right into this very room. If that's the case, then that may be another avenue I can pursue. Agent Lang, in order for me to answer that question, I will need to hear testimony from Ms. Von Karma.
Oh? What are you up to now, pretty boy?
Earlier you mentioned something of interest to me. You said that before the murder occurred, Ms. Von Karma had been called to this room. Ms. Von Karma had been in this room because Ambassador Alba had called for her. And for that reason alone, you believe her to be the killer.
Yeah, I guess I did say something like that.
In that case, I believe it is my duty to ask her what her side of the story is.
Ha! Do you really think that a criminal would tell us the honest truth? How dare you! As I've said numerous times, there is absolutely no proof that I am the killer. Miles Edgeworth, don't tell me you suspect me too.
I don't. However, I can't ignore the fact that you were in this room at one point in time. Which is why I would like to hear about your movements in this room. Francisca, I feel that I still don't have enough information. which is why your testimony is incredibly important to the outcome of this case.
Alright. So, what would you like me to talk about?
I'd like you to please testify to your movements in this room until the murder occurred.
Alright, let's try this your way for a change. But if what she has to say turns out to be a waste of time, I'll place her under arrest faster than you can howl. No!
As you wish.
As I said earlier, I was assigned to guard duty in the Alabastian embassy. After I saw the Steel Samurai off on his way towards the ambassador's office, I returned to the Rose Garden for a bit and checked up on the security situation. After all the preparations were made, I was called back to Ambassador Alba's by Ambassador Alba to his office.
Franziska, I want us to make this clear her from the very beginning. So what I wish to confirm is that the only time span in which you were in this office was before the murder occurred. Is that correct?
Yes, of course.
I see. For now, the only way that I can see for us to break out of this situation is to ask about her testimony for more detail. And I know just the statement.
As I said earlier, I was assigned to guard duty in the Alabastian embassy. After I saw the Steel Samurai off on his way towards the ambassador's office, I returned to the Rose Garden for a bit and checked up on the security situation. After all the preparations were in place, I was called back by Ambassador Alba to his office.
At that time, Damask II's body had yet to be found in this room. Is that correct?
That's right. But Ambassador Alba was here. One could hardly miss his rather large presence.
A criminal will say anything to get out of getting arrested. How do we know you're not lying?
Well, if you need proof, I'd be happy to oblige you.
Seriously?
Like I keep telling you, when I arrived at this office, Ambassador Alba was already here. He was standing by the flower box on the windowsill, watering his plants.
I can attest to that. I remember speaking with the lovely lady around that time, here in my office. Alright then, add that statement to your testimony, and let's hear some details.
So, Ambassador Alba was in this room at the time, was he?
When I arrived, Ambassador Alba was watering the flowers on the windowsill.
Hold it!
For the sake of being thorough, I'd like to ask you something. How did you know that Ambassador Alba was watering his plants by the windowsill?
What do you mean by that?
The entrance to this room is on the other side. However, the window is on the opposite side. If what you say is true, then when you entered the room, his body would have been like a wall. He would have been blocking your view of what he was doing. Is that not correct? I suppose that was a bit hard to see around him. But fortunately for me, Ambassador Alba was not an immovable wall. I knocked before I entered. Heard as I did, he turned around to greet me, with the watering can in his hand. So it's only natural to believe that he was watering his plants, right? I suppose. After his greeting, we spent a little time talking about his flowers. He had obtained them himself and is growing them with the utmost care, you know. Yes. The plants in this room, they are like my children. The passion flowers in the window box, hooks on the windowsill, are growing beautifully too. All of them are in full bloom. Miss Von Karma, what did you say just now? I said that the flowers are growing beautifully. What about that statement do you not understand? What do I not understand? I do not understand why a certain thing is in the way. Is the way it is. I'd like you to append that statement into your testimony. Very well. There were 4 large herb passion flowers in bloom in the flower box. Franziska, for some odd reason, your testimony contradicts with this piece of evidence. It does appear that way.
Ha! I knew it! I knew we couldn't trust her word, sis.
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you doing discrediting Miss Von Karma like this?
Yes, sir. If you keep this up, she's gonna get taken away, sir.
All I've done is state what I saw. I've made not a single mistake in my testimony. And for this, I am still under suspicion for murder. Is the number of flowers really that important at all at this juncture, Miles? At the very least, it is a contradiction in this enigmatic case. One that I find hard to dismiss as irrelevant.
Ha! Then let's hear it, prosecutor. What does the number of flowers have to do with anything? What does it prove?
I believe the answer to that will become clear if we were to examine that flower box. How did this contradiction come about? There must be something behind this discrepancy.
They're my beloved flowers. I've grown them with the utmost care. So I think that you ask that you please be gentle with them as you examine them, Mr. Edgeworth.
I understand. I won't rest until I inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. The name of these flowers, I believe they're called passion flowers. Despite being called flowers, they are actually a species of vine. They appear to be growing well and are well sprouted, supported by these plant supporters.
Yeah, but no matter how I look at it, it looks like there's only two here, to me. You realize this, don't you, sis? Your little lie has failed you. Miles Edgeworth! Hurry up and shut this man up and for me already.
I suppose I will need to use some evidence to shut him up, won't I? I believe I have just the piece of evidence you require.
Oh, you do you? You have such confidence in your face of your current plight. But I highly doubt you'll last until the end.
You howl like a wolf, Agent Lang. But we'll see if you have any bite to back up that bark after you see this evidence. The truth of passion flowers reveal can be seen in this piece of evidence.
Take that!
Sheena, who was supposedly in Babal the entire time, had these hair sticks on her. But look exactly like the plant supporters in this flower box. In other words, I believe it can be said that these hair sticks are in actuality support sticks for the passion flowers.
And so what? Is this really all that important to the case?
Of course it is. It means that we've found yet another item that was smuggled between the countries tonight.
Aye?
Think about it logically, Agent Lang. These sticks were originally in Alabest. But somehow they wound up in Sheena's hand, who was in Babal the whole night. So, make no mistake, these sticks were smuggled somehow, and just like the knife and statue...
Very well then. I want to hear from you exactly how they wound up in Babal.
How did these support sticks find their way to Babal, and why? There must be some reason as to why they ended up here. Aha! So that's why! Agent Lang, if you would please take a look at this and tell me its shape.
It's just another stick, isn't it?
And so it is. But the shape of the support sticks is what it's important. For when they are used with something in this room, that's when it all comes to focus. And the object that completes the picture, her when used with the support sticks is this crossbow.
What? That's a crossbow. Wait, you're not really suggesting...
I am. These hair sticks, or rather, plant support sticks, they make for perfect arrows. I've done it. I found the common thread that connects these two offices. But this thread has yet to be completely untangled. Even using the arrows, how does this explain how the statues were transported? Furthermore, who could it have been who fired these sticks as arrows? There must be a common thread that ties all these things together.
Mr. Prosecutor, hold up for a second. You realize what happens when you tie a statue on an arrow, right? They don't fly at all! So, Bebel's statue was dropped in the Yatagarasu's clothes and then shot over here. Even if you fire the arrows from this side, they wouldn't go far. They wouldn't go far with the statue tied to them. Don't you think I need to tell you? I don't think I need to tell you that the primitive statue didn't sprout wings. You're a realist after all, aren't you?
The pre-duck statue didn't sprout wings? Of course they didn't.
Glad you understand. And I feel very much better already. I was afraid for a second that you were unaware of that crucial fact.
It's only crucial because you're under the belief that wings are necessary for its elevation.
What?
You need to free your mind a bit more and let it fly like a bird on the wind. The primitive statue was not on a wing. Allow me a bit of your time, and I'll explain this mysterious phenomenon to you.
So, Babel's statue was draped in the Yatagarasu's clothes and then shot over here? Even if you fired the arrows from this side, they wouldn't go far with a statue tied to them.
But we are in agreement that an arrow by itself would reach the other side, correct?
But just an arrow by itself is pretty meaningless, don't you think, Mr. Prosecutor? Because the things they wanted to smuggle were a lot bigger than nothing.
No, that's not necessarily true.
What?
What I need right now is not further discussion of my conclusions, it's the launching of my conclusions. What the shooter wanted to launch with the crossbow was not the statues themselves, but rather something a crossbow can launch that can be used to move the statues. If it wasn't a statue that was tied to the crossbows, well, then what did the crossbow launch? Isn't it obvious?
Objection!
Finally, we have reached this point in our destination. For I present to you that which was carried by the arrow from the crossbow.
Heh, I get it now, Mr. Prosecutor. I can see exactly what you're trying to say. You're saying that the wire was tied to an arrow and then shot into Mr. Cochin's office. All the way from the 5th floor of the Alabastian Embassy. Down to the 3rd floor of the Belize Embassy. If what you're claiming is really what happened, I can see how the Alabastian's Primaduck statue could be moved. Gravity could be used to move the statue down a wire from the 5th floor to the 3rd floor. But then, what about the Babal's Primaduck statue? The dark shadow in this photo is clearly flying away from Babal. Going in the opposite way of gravity from the 3rd floor of the Belize Embassy. And up to the 5th floor of the Alabastian Embassy. How do you explain that?
Aha! I think I finally see how the gears behind this whole trick works. Agent Lang, the motion used behind this trick. I wonder if perhaps you have yet to envision how it works in your head.
Motion? What motion?
This is the motion that was employed to smuggle Babal's Primaduck statue. I believe it was via rotary motion. If the two statues were transported simultaneously...
Simultaneously? Get real! The statues would collide somewhere along the way.
Did I ever say that there was only one line of wire between the two statues? If you shot an arrow with the two ends of the wire tied to it, a circular belt can be performed.
Longji says, don't object and call a recess is what is beyond reasonability. Taking into account the tension between between the two wires, the top one would sag too much to the point where the statues would collide anyway.
Agent Lang, as you know, the Primiduck statue is a one-of-a-kind natural treasure. And the fact that the Baboli statue is a hollow replica of the real statue, it would naturally be lighter than the real one, meaning that my idea is entirely possible.
Zhongxi says, "Ho!"
Here's what I believe happened. Ms. Yu and her mystery co-conspirator set themselves up in the two different rooms. The co-conspirator, her bridged the rooms by shooting the two ends of the wire down on one arrow. Then the two of them, him covered the statues and proceeded to transport the statues. After the switch was completed, another arrow was fired, carrying the other end of the wire down to Babel, where it was to be disposed of. And to do that, Miss Yu hit it inside the grandfather clock, QED.
This proves it, right, Agent Lang? That I am not the killer? Not yet, sis. I still haven't had my dessert yet. Right, Mr. Prosecutor?
The proof is in the pudding, as it were.
Pudding is a nice dessert. So, do you think you can do it? So, do you think you can do it? Can you prove what you said is what happened? Because remember, if you can't, I'll be taking a certain someone back home with me as a souvenir.
I agree, as long as there is no proof. My hypothesis remains just that. However, what I have laid out is no mere hypothesis, for there is one more piece of evidence.
One more? This should be interesting. You think you have a piece of evidence that will turn your hypothesis into fact? Well then, let's see it, Mr. Prosecutor.
The thing that made it possible to create a circular belt without the length of wire, I believe that it is right here in this very room. Now then, I believe this is what made the circular belt transportation method possible.
Take that!
Ha! Looks like you dropped another bomb on us again.
The last piece of the trick are two pulleys? Precisely. The ceiling fans double as pulleys in this case. And thanks to the fact that there is one installed in each of the offices, the ceiling fans are made for the perfect pulley set for our wire to run on. This must be it. This is how the smugglers bypass the impenetrable security.
You really are something else, Mr. Prosecutor. I bet you figured it all out already, haven't you? You know who the big hotshot that set up this real-life stage show who is, don't you?
The person who set up this rather large and complex show needs to be someone who had knowledge of. The existence of the ceiling fan in both Alabastian and Albanese his offices, and that the passion flowers support stakes could be used as arrows. The real mastermind behind this case...
Well, don't you dare make this wolf wait for his food.
Why are you so hesitant, Mr. Edgeworth? If you can't say so, say who it is. Why don't you present something like you always do?
A single point of the finger here, and this case will explode into an international incident. However, it's already too late for me to stop the forward momentum. It appears that I have no choice now but to rush in. There is a piece of evidence that will point us to who the mysterious mastermind is.
Take that!
This smuggling could not have been possible without the use of the crossbow. Furthermore, the arrows that were shot by the crossbow were hooked as it were, from the flower box in this very room. They were planted so long ago that the passion flowers had time to grow so big. That Miss Von Karma didn't even notice the arrows when she visited this room today. On top of all this, the fact that the culprit knew that both offices had ceiling fans tells us that the person is very detailed, has very detailed information on the embassy's layout. So, you may have already guessed that the person I am accusing of hatching this plan is the person who grew the flowers in the flower box with the utmost care. Thus, it can only be you. Curtis Alba.
Are you out of your mind, Miles Edgeworth?
I am certain of what I am saying, and I am sure that he is the culprit.
Tell me, Mr. Prosecutor, what was the ambassador trying to accomplish by doing all that stuff you just outlined? Why in the world would he need to use a trick like that?
I understand your need to doubt me. However, there is one thing that stands out to me as very odd.
Just one thing, huh?
The one single end result Ambassador Alba sought to obtain. If we were to examine the focus to this complex trick, I believe we will finally find the answer to everything. Everything will become clear once we examine this piece of evidence. I always get confused between the two.
Take that!
I would fully understand the reasoning had the situation been in reverse. However, to go through the trouble of swapping the real Prima Duck statue for the fake, I sense a very shady reason for such a bizarre action. And who better to ask for that reason than King Prima Duck himself?
I see. Ambassador, we'll be examining that statue now, with or without your permission.
Not sure what exactly I'll be looking for on this statue. These are more Mr. Cochin's fingerprints. The fact that they are on here suggests that this statue once belonged to Babal. So it was smuggled from Babal. To Alabast, right? Why was there a need for them to smuggle it in? What am I looking for here? Examine the head.
This guy kinda looks like the Steel Samurai, don't you think?
Maybe
Maybe it's because they look alike that he was picked to be a goodwill ambassador.
I suppose that's possible. Take a look at this area around the base of his neck. It looks like a gap.
Hey, you're right. Maybe it's meant to be some kind of secret?
Perhaps it's possible to open the statue from this gap in its construction.
What? Hurry up and open it.
Hurry up and open it, Miles!
Alright, here goes.
Wow, it really did open up. Hey, what's this thing that fell out?
I believe a more thorough examination of it is required. What in the... This is...
Hey! Is this what I think it is?
It's a plate for making counterfeit bills!
Somehow it appears that we've at long last arrived at the exit of this complex labyrinth. We finally held within our hands one of the counterfeit money plates. And the reason why the replica was smuggled into Alabast to begin with. The Prima Duck statue can only be held by the ambassador or the secretary. And the replica is nothing more than a hollow shell covered in gold. These two circumstances make the statue the ideal object in which to hide contraband. After receiving the statue containing the counterfeit plate from Shina, the ambassador had the misfortune of accidentally running into Damas II. Surprised by the thief, the ambassador raised the replica at the Damas II and then, in order to frame the steel samurai of the murder, he covered the samurai's sword in blood. Well, Ambassador Alba?
You're the leader of the smuggling ring? My country is a mess! And it's all because of you? You're the one who killed Damas II?
Answer us!
I never thought that you would figure things out to this level. However, there is one point I disagree with you on. The head of the smuggling ring was Mr. Cochin. Quit screwing around! I have no sympathy for someone who would try to pass the guilt onto a dead man. If there is one thing I'm sure of, it's that you're the real ringleader. Her Kirkus Alba. It's not good to speak with such subjectively. You know, Agent Lang. Subjectively, my conclusion is anything but, and is the result of logic and investigation. Logic and investigation? Only seconds ago, you were ready to arrest Ms. Von Karma. I don't think we can give such flip-floppy logic any real weight, do you? It looks like you still don't get why I came back. Excuse me? You see, the real reason I came back is so that I can sink my fangs into your wrinkly old neck. From the very beginning, my real target has been you. What? Agent Lang, I demand an explanation. Sorry, sis, I didn't mean to put you through all that. I knew you were innocent from the very beginning. You did? I knew that this whole incident had meticulously been meticulously planned and prepared for. So naturally, the occupant of this room, Ambassador Alba, seemed the most suspicious. But without the ambassador's permission, we couldn't get in to take another look around.
So that's why you put this big show on to accuse Franziska for murder. Using Franziska as the bait, you were able to gain us entry and investigative rights.
Yeah, if I hadn't done that, I doubt the ambassador would have given you the okay to poke around.
So that's what all this was about?
Very well, I forgive you. But in exchange for using me as bait, you will take some responsibility and help us find the truth.
Agent Lang, for giving me such a great opening, I thank you.
You know, I just knew, Mr. Prosecutor, that somehow if we were able to find some proof by investigating this room, that you would be able to figure out the real culprit with your special brand of logic.
The evidence and detectives have collected. The evidence detective combined with the logic of a prosecutor. That's just as it should be in a prosecutor-detective team, right?
I don't know about all that. But one thing I do know is that I'm itching to see what that old man get what's coming to him.
Oh, you're quite scary when you want to be, aren't you?
Hey, you were the one who was planning to use me to push all the guilt onto the sis. But unfortunately for you, you misjudged me.
Agent Lang, I wish for you to stop trying to intimidate me. What we need right now is evidence and proof. I wonder if you have what is necessary to prove that I am the head of the smuggling ring. Don't be such a sore loser. If you really are the head of the smuggling ring, then you should acknowledge your crimes with dignity. Dignity? That is nothing more than a fool's insurance display of strength. If you really wish for me to acknowledge my crimes, then I would like to first see some of this thing you call evidence. I tell you, I knew nothing, really. I didn't even know that the counterfeit plate was hidden inside that statue.
You swapped the real statue, who that vested in her country. He the authority to rule before a fake. That doesn't make any sense that you didn't know anything.
It doesn't make sense? Where doesn't it make sense? Can you prove that it doesn't make sense? He's really got us. He's turned the entire situation around against us.
The proof that Interpol has been after which points to this man as the ringleader. If we can somehow find that proof, then we can see to it that justice is finally served. Is there nothing I can use to break this case wide open? The trump card and the videotape. With these two items, we might be able to finally bring this man down. But the card is evidence from a case that Mr. Faraday hid away in secret. And the tape was stolen by Detective Bad from the police. They're both illegal evidence. No matter what, a prosecutor of the law can't be allowed to use such pieces of evidence.
Needless to say, we Von Karmas are commended here to achieve nothing but victory. By any means necessary.
The only way to bring someone like that to justice was to do so outside of the courts. That's what we thought at the time. I no longer follow the path of Manfred von Karma, and I won't follow the path of the Yaragarasu. This leaves me with what? What creed will I believe in? If I want to pursue the truth, then I will sully my hands in illegitimately. And if I want to pursue justice, then I will lose the truth. What is the law and what is justice? And which path is a prosecutor supposed to follow? That choice is one I must make my own hand here and now. Oh boy, we're up a creek without a paddle. I'm not sure what choice I'm supposed to make for this. All I can think of... I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. But whatever choice I need, I'm gonna need to make it quick. I'm really struggling with trying to make a choice here. Do I use the trump card or do I not? Oh, wait. Something tells me it's not gonna matter which choice we choose. So, I'm gonna choose, for now, don't use the trump card. I am a prosecutor, and I cannot allow myself to use evidence such as these.
Mr. Edgeworth, if you don't do something, Ambassador Alba is going to get away with this.
I know, but...
What are you holding back for? The only thing a Von Karma should pursue is a perfect proof. If you really do have what it takes to complete your assignment, then there is absolutely no reason for you not to use it.
Like G says, the reason people will judge people is because people are people. People weren't born to be chained to the law. Laws are born to protect the people. You're the only one here right now who can put this guy out to pasture. And that is the only way a second or a third generation of Zheng Fa's people will be born. Can you really still hesitate knowing the fate of a nation rests on your hands?
There is no limit to the law. Any limit that exists was set there by man. When a person goes beyond that limit, then the law, too, crosses into that new territory. For that reason, for what reason was there for what reasons were law invented? The answer to that is what I must now show. Ambassador Alba, I wonder if you might recognize this.
Oh, I wonder what that card is. I've never seen that before in my life.
It's a directives card used by the leader of the ring to relay instructions to his subordinates.
Oh, is that what that is?
This card was sent to the real culprit behind the KG-8 incident 10 years ago. A man by the name of Manny Cochin.
Oh, so why do you have such a card in your possession?
Because it was hand-delivered to me by a certain great thief, the Yatagarasu.
The Yatagarasu gave that to you? Don't talk nonsense, and let's be serious, Mr. Edgeworth. Do you have any proof that the card contains directions from the ringleader?
I'll have you know that the card is not the only thing I was given.
What?
This contains security footage that was shot just before the start of the KG-8 incident.
The KG-8 incident?
The card and the video. These two pieces of evidence are what will seal your fate.
Oh, very interesting. I must admit, I am very curious now. Very curious indeed in these case-deciding pieces of evidence that you've presented.
The prey the Yatagarasu has been chasing all this time now stands before me. I can't allow this man who has had free reign for 10 long years to simply walk away. Now is the time for me to bring to fruition the vigilant spirit that was given to me.
So, what is this interesting thing that you wanted to show me?
The trump card and the videotape. These two pieces of evidence together make for the ultimate hand. And this is where the real meaning behind Detective Bad's words will be realized. Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, sir.
What you see here is the security footage shot just before the KG-8 murder occurred. From this footage, we know that the card heard is the directives card from the smuggling ring. This is the section that proves that the card was used to relay an order. Okay, I just need to make sure I'm not doing anything wrong here. I'm pretty sure it's that black card. As you can see, Mr. Kochin is holding the card in his right hand.
I see. The killer is indeed holding a card, with the exact same design on it. But that card and the one you have, just because they look the same doesn't mean that they are, does it now?
Ah, but there is a very easy way for me to prove that they are, in fact, one and the same. And all we have to do is simply take a look at this. This is dark red blood. Yes, this is her proof. Proof that the orders on this card were played out in that terrible tragedy. The blood belonged to the victim of the KG-8 incident. With a bit of DNA testing, we can very easily verify this as fact. If you have no objections, then I'd like for you to take a look at the next piece of the footage. This car, her that passed it by in front of the victim's apartment building, is an official Godolphin government car.
What?
Detective Gumshoe, if you could please magnify the footage. This area of the footage directly links the smuggling ring with cornucopia. The card again? The shape of this pocket and the directives card in it, it tells us without a doubt this person in this car is Mr. Kochin.
Yeah.
The license plate on the car was also captured by the security camera. And with it, we can easily find out who was sitting in this car on that day 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is why I can say with confidence that you were riding in this car on that day.
Yeah. You've done well, boy, to make it this far. However, about your claim that I was riding in the car at that time, there's going to be mighty difficult to prove.
How so?
The Principality of Codopia no longer exists. So naturally, all records from that time period also no longer exist.
That arrogance! What he really means is that he's already erased all traces of them.
Are we finished, dear boy?
The only weapon I have left for me to use now is the piece of this footage. There must be something here that I can use against him. And I believe I see it. Do you see it, guys?
Take that!
What the? Ambassador Alba. Yes, what is it? You were once an army man in the service of Codopia. And it was you who made the many missions you participated in success, correct?
Why the sudden backhanded praises, boy? Although, to be sure, the brilliant medals on my breast were awarded to me during the era of Codopia. But now, I am the only one who owns this particular medal.
In that case, the only person it could be, he who is sitting in this car, is you.
How do you figure that?
By the medal captured here in this footage. It is clearly the same exact medal that you wear as the one you're on your chest.
What?
This is how it will be, but I won't look back. For this is the path that I have chosen.
You've moved me with your devotion to this case, Mr. Edgeworth.
Why is he taking such an arrogant stance with me?
It's almost looking possible, isn't it? For the lot of you to have come this far. It looks like I just might lose our little game this time.
You might lose the game this time?
You don't get another round, Mr. Ambassador. Is that a fact? Very well. I've decided to confess and admit my guilt.
You're going to confess?
And I will accept whatever punishment that may come as a result. What the? Regarding the Damask 2 murder, I admit it. I did it out of self-defense.
You're claiming that it was justified self-defense?
Damask 2 attacked me, and I felt that my life was in danger. If I hadn't done what I did, I might be the one you found dead instead of him.
What a pathetic performance!
I'm not giving you one.
Wow. Oh, you two really know how to laugh at inappropriate times.
If you wish to claim it was justified self-defense, then we will need some evidence.
It's always the evidence with you, isn't it? But if that's what you require, I'll provide it. That man left a mark on me when he attacked.
What?
I don't particularly want to show it off, but this is proof that it was in self-defense. I'm an old man, and sometimes I don't pay enough attention when I should. But Damask 2 didn't have a single weapon on his body.
Oh wait, that was Francisca.
Hold on. It's nothing to get worked up over, because I hid the weapon. You hid it? I'm sorry, but as you know, a murder is a murder, even if it's in self-defense. And I couldn't let it become public, seeing as how I am an ambassador. This is the weapon you seek. My special bonsai trimming shears. Oh, it's covered in blood. He was trembling quite badly after our struggle. But that's when he grabbed the shears that were sitting in my office and attacked. So you see, it was an act of self-defense. Is he right, Mr. Edgeworth?
Since he has both the wound and the weapon that caused it, it's enough to declare it so.
No way! Oh, which reminds me, I guess there is still one more accusation I need to resolve. Smuggling and counterfeiting. Unfortunately, all of that is my secretary's doing. I had no knowledge of it was going on. Stop spewing nonsense! You're trying to throw my investigation under the bus in your description. Desperation. If you want to get real honest, everything in this case can be connected to you. The murder of Damask 2, who was done in self-defense. In my trials, no man escapes his crime alive. Perhaps so, if you were my opponent in court. However, there is only one very important fact that I think you may have forgotten.
And what is that?
That's what you mean? Extraterrestrially? That's right. This embassy sits on what is effectively Alabastian soil. So, any trial that is to be held will be held in Alabast. Therefore, the crime I just admitted to will never be tried in your courts.
Lane, what is Interpol's stance on this?
Agent investigate. Hey, that's our job. The judgment of people who have confessed to their crimes, that's the court's job. And I've already confessed to all of my crimes, Agent Lang. Furthermore, by the very nature of my position, I have full extraterrestrial rights. These rights are effective even on your country's soil. Therefore, no matter where a crime may take place, I will never stand in one of your courts.
That arrogant
And your expression! That's nothing like the face of someone who is ready to accept the consequences. Don't tell me you have your own country's judicial system eating right out of your hands. These crimes you all speak so seriously of. To me, this has all been nothing more than a game. You may chase me out of this embassy with your accusations, but it's no big deal. Alibes has numerous other embassies. He's in other countries around the world. All you could accomplish is you would chance the backdrop of our little game. Change the backdrop of our little game.
These 2 layers of protection that extraterrestrially provides him. This is why he is one of those who cannot be brought to court.
You see now, don't you? I live in a whole different world than you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go fetch your eviction papers.
Is there nothing we can do? And we're gonna find out if there is anything we can do next time in Let's Replay Ace Attorney Investigations. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and would love to see more. If you do, hit that like and subscribe button, leave a comment if you want, ring that bell to be notified when our next video comes out. We do new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and occasionally Saturday and Sundays. All this helps my channel to grow so you have more videos to enjoy. Till the next episode, this is Saur Darkchylde, signing off. Have a good night, folks.